it's time for us to move towards that panel discussion. Stage is set, and the topic is so interesting, right? How to get brands to show more love for OOH. And we're going to welcome on the stage right now brand marketers to share their expert insights. But first up, to moderate the session, please welcome Managing Editor, Media for Growth, Mr. Rajiv Raghunath. Welcome, good afternoon. Our first panelist commands over 2 decades of experience in various industries like consumer durables, FMCG, and financial services. He has also done some significant work in the fields of life insurance and banking. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on the stage Senior Vice President and Head Marketing, Bandhan Bank, Mr. Apurva Sircar. Let's be generous with that applause, ladies and gentlemen. Our next panelist comes with over 20 years of domain experience.
Welcome.
He joined Moms Outdoor in 2003 as assistant manager and rose to become the CEO. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Jayesh Yagnik. Huge round of applause. Our next panelist is a distinguished figure in advertising and media with over 20 years of experience, and under his leadership, his company has rapidly transformed into a key player in India OH advertising landscape. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on the stage co-founder Coral Media, Mr. Lekshumanan Annamalai. Welcome. And our final panelist has over 25 years of marketing and building major brands in various segments. Ladies and gentlemen, the National Marketing Head for Skipper Pipes, please welcome Anirban Paul Chaudhary. A full panel, our moderator is ready. How do you get brands to show more love for OOH? Now this is going to get exciting because we want to know the answers.
Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Well, the theme is if we can get the brands to show more love for OH. I'm quite sure that all of you sitting out in the audience would be very keen are keen to see how that love is going to be showered on our media. Well, we have been having conversations about OH doubling its share of the ad pie in the next 3-4 years, or of doubling its overall revenues in the next 2-3 years. And we have a panel of widely traveled people out here. So I was just wanting to start by talking about the quality and range of media that we have on offer for advertisers, and whether that is really going to get our brand marketers to show more love on our media. So straight away to Apurva, given the range and the quality of media that you're getting to see in your own target markets, is that inspiring you to go to OH in more significant ways than you have before? Your intervention, please.
Thanks, Rajiv. First of all, it's a tough task for all of us on stage because the post-lunch session generally happens to be the graveyard session in any seminar. That's when the juices are flowing in the stomach and people are feeling that call towards coffee or tea. OH as a medium is one of the oldest because that's what's existed even before we had various other media that came much later. And therefore the evolution in the medium has been the most significant. Having said that, for us as marketers, it remains a medium which gives you market isolation because very few mediums do. Number two, it gives you hyper-localized communication that can be carried out given what the objectives are. And I was very happy to hear Dan, he's just stepped out, I think, talked about objectives. And objectives will decide how much and which kind of outdoor medium are you wanting to do. The third thing is something which all marketers are grappling with, and that is something that needs to be addressed as an industry, because without that, we will keep struggling, which is a common measurement currency. Right? So we have various providers, various agencies and owners who give their own measurements, It's very difficult for us as marketers really figure out what, as an overall aggregate level, is the impact going to be, because the parameters of measurement are very different across various providers. So I think that is one very important, intervention that needs to happen, which will give us more confidence in using OOH even more than what we are today, because today it is mostly a qualitative assessment, and that's why, as we were talking just before this panel, you always hear CEO ke ghar ke bahar put up an outdoor, because then he should know that we are live. That doesn't happen in others, because then you have measurement to show that yes, the campaign has happened. So those are my 2 bits about that.
All right, Apurva, I'll come to Anirban and have you to weigh in on this point about the quality and the range of media that is available to advertisers today compared to, say, a few years ago. From that perspective, and you would have noticed from the various presentations that we are not just talking about billboards, we're talking about transit media, we're talking about place-based media, and a whole range. And not just that, there's, apart from the static media, there's dynamic content that is being played. When you have a range like that available to you, does that really make you to consider having more spends on OH? And when you speak on this, I would also like to bring in the overall brand perspective. That, you can speak on behalf of the advertisers per se.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon to everybody. So, first and foremost, in my almost 20 plus years in advertising and marketing for various brands, starting with Coke for almost 6 years, and then with Telecom for almost 12 years. These are highly consumer-centric brands, and spending heavily was never didn't have a problem spending over there. But OOH always took a center stage. There was television also, but OOH was something that we drove very, very aggressively, because we wanted to reach newer markets. We wanted to reach the hinterland, hyper-local marketing, and also something that gives you instant, that kind of a market overall sees an OOH and then reacts to your products and services, rather than when they go see television, that's fine. But when they see OOH locally in their own neighborhood, in different forms, I was talking about 10, 12 years, 13 years back, that is still prevalent at the moment, okay? We did not have so many advent of DOH, LED, all the other things that we're seeing at the moment was not there. It was plain and simple traditional OOH media, right? But we have seen the advent of what we mentioned right now. So many forms of OOH advertising coming in right now. As marketers, we all have options now to decide which market demands what kind of advertising, which market or which, in a particular city, which area will demand what kind of OOH advertising. I can decide for that, for myself. I work in a space at the moment which is not very, it's something that is not involving the consumer as much. It's B2B mostly. It also involves selling to influencers, like the architects, the engineers, the plumbers, etc. Not so much as the consumers. So how do you go and target consumers to see your own products and services? In what mediums do they see it, and how do they react to it? Is a challenge that we always have at this moment. So in the building, in the infrastructure sector that I'm there for the last almost 6 years now, cement, and then now in the plumbing business. OOH, I've driven OOH over here. They didn't believe in OOH, basically. You'll see very little OOH coming from these 2 sectors, but yes, there's a lot of experiential coming with OOH also. It's not only just plain and static advertising, it is mostly to do with driving awareness of the brand, and we are adapting to a lot of the newer, new age OOH mediums that are coming in, and we are using that to amplify the digital advertising that we do, right? A lot of money is being spent on digital to reach our target audiences. To amplify that, there is OOH in its various formats that we use. So I'll urge all the marketers here or outside to embrace the newer mediums that are coming in now. And each of these mediums has their own, positives. Use them for the brand in the right market.
All right, thank you, Anirban. I'll come to Jayesh. Jayesh, you can give a much wider view of this whole point about using OH in all its glory, so to say. where we are looking at all formats. So are you seeing any distinct trends that you'd like to talk about?
Sure. Well, first of all, good afternoon, everyone. And thanks. Thank you so much for this question, Rajiv. See, what the question you ask about the formats and all, well, definitely, the kind of formats, how it's evolved over the time in OOH as an industry. I would just like to start from where Apurva started, that OOH is one of the oldest medium. And, we rightly say when we go to our clients or when we pitch in and all that, when we have to pitch for the media per se, because we constantly fight for OOH as a budget from the overall media pie. One of the thing is, yes, it's one of the oldest medium, but it has not grown to its potential how it should have been so far. In spite of the fact being, this is the only advertising medium which is meant for advertising, and if consumer is having a look at this media, he is looking with the clear-cut intention of consuming an ad. You are not introducing in anything. You read newspaper for news, advertisement comes in between. You watch television for the content like entertainment, sports, advertisement come in between. So is digital and other media. Outdoor is the only medium when you are looking at it, you know that you are going to see the ad. There is no other intention by which you are going to look at it. So, thank you. This is one of the most unique sellable point as far as our own industry is concerned. Whether we talk about everything, why it has not grown to the level it should have been and all that, this is one of the major things when we can go and tell that to our client that, if your consumer is looking at your brand, he knows that he's going to see something which he's going to consume it. Now coming on to your question that about the evolvement of the media, yes, that traditionally it has been, still to an extent it has been on a very much on a large format per se. Having said so, in past about 2018 onwards, so it's about 6 to 7 years if I would say, the kind of infrastructure development what our country has seen has built up more and more inventory for us as an outdoor. If you see, currently, I believe there are 16 cities where the metro trains are running, which is going to go to 23 cities in next 3 years. There were some 78 airports 7 years back, which has gone to 125 plus. Now, all these places is creating different media, different inventory for us as a marketeer or a specialized agency to go give it to clients, show it to clients, and bring them to taste this media and get onto the different format need not traditionally be larger than life billboard. So
Right.
there are many medias which are coming up in space of digital out of home in the smaller airports, the other places and all that. And also the change in lifestyle what we have seen over the period of time. The touch points like corporate park, the touch points like residential areas, the touch points, in entire consumer cycles, once you leave the day, you are exposed to various different touch points, and once you come back home, there are so many medias you get exposed to, right from your office to your residence, to right outside bus shelter, to on the road, to a large format, to everything. So yes, there is an opportunity if it is placed and sell in a particular way by which the clients wants it to consume, and not just by going on a traditional way, this is the budget, this many billboards I can give you, and that's it. So
Right.
yes, the mindset need to be changed.
So it's about being all along the consumer journey, so to say.
Absolutely.
Right? Quickly to Lekshumanan, when we all believe and we agree to the fact that the variety of formats that OH offers is quite incredible, and it is way ahead of any other media channel that is there to do business. Then what stops us from actually pitching these to the brand advertisers and helping them to understand the real value that they can derive from all of these different formats? Because why I'm asking this particular point is because there were sessions conducted yesterday where some of the speakers mentioned that informing and educating your target audience is very, very important. In your case, the target audience or the target groups are the brand marketers. So is there a genuine effort to help unbox this package called OH?
Yeah, like as Jayesh said that, the number of opportunities and the number of touch points that we have to advertise currently in terms of the metro stations and, airports. And today, on a daily basis, I get availability lists that, you can advertise across all pubs in India. I mean, the touch points, I'm talking about parlors, retail touch points, so much of touch points.
You need to speak a little closer to the mic.
So many touch points available, just not only metros and these things, and residential societies. Like, when you want to do hyper local, you have that option of doing hyper local in residential societies or corporate tech parks. And like actually, in today's morning session also, when Melanie was covering these difficulties in terms of this size, the variation, the kind of specification that we have in terms of the media inventory, the hardware inventory, totally different kind of sizes. These are the challenges which certain clients face, in terms of outdoor, especially when it comes to outdoor. But what we've understood is, for example, I like to quote an example which we executed for a BFSI client like Paytm. Okay, it was just Rath Yatra, Jagannath Puri Rath Yatra. The client brief was very clear that they just wanted to create a digital hundi. So what we did is, across the city, we stuck posters. So wherever you are in the city, you could take a picture and do donation through your Paytm. And it went viral. It went, we combined it along with social media. It was covered by Curly Tales, which had 2 million views on YouTube. And now, the same thing, client wants to repeat it for Ganpati, Dashera,
Right. You have created an experience that would make a lot of other brands to consider new ways of reaching out to the audiences. Well, I want to come back to Apurva, and ask you that, are you really seeing this industry coming to you and educating you? I mean, education is not the right word really, of actually presenting the best options from which to choose.
Yes, Rajiv, I think that job is being done very well by the various partners that we work with. But I'll tell you where the problem is. The problem, not problem, but the first part is we as marketers need to be very sure on what is the role of every media that we are picking up. So what is the role of OH in the entire plan that we have for the brand? If that is not clear with us as marketers, we will choose whatever is absolutely vanilla and then say, "Yaar, maza nahi aaya." Right? So one is, what is the role of the medium? What is the role of OH in the overall plans that we have for the brand? That is number one, and many marketers are not clear about that. So I think that is a clarity that marketers need to have. No one from outside can actually come and help them understand that, because they know their brand the best. Okay. Number two is, I see there is a lack of effort in understanding how do you customize a certain campaign for OH specifically. Generally what happens is, you have a larger campaign, you have a campaign thought, and it is just an adaptation. Now OH does not work effectively if it's only an adaptation. At times, yes, there are challenges that marketers have, and therefore it is difficult for marketers to create specific creatives there. But till such time that we don't look at OH as a, and I'll give you an example, sorry to cut that point short, but I'll give you an example. Today marketers are looking at digital as a specific medium and developing creatives which suit digital medium. But we are not doing that for OH. Many are not. And I think that is where both partners and marketers have to work together to figure out how do you make your communication fit OH and not adapt to it.
So which is the starting point for that, Apurva? I mean, who's going to start that?
I think it's a joint effort. It's a joint effort. And I'll go back to the point that I mentioned about measurement. When you have measurement, there is reason to invest. Because when you are creating something which is specifically for OH, it means a little more investment in developing it, right? If you have the measurement, and why digital is seeing very specific communication being developed for it because it is measurable, and you say, this happened, therefore let's invest a little more. But for OH, it is an overall combined package, and the best that we have with us are, as I said, individual bodies giving their own, or vendors or partners giving their own measurement, or we go back to the brand awareness metrics where we say source of recall. And trust me, today with the plethora of communication on something that is in your hand all the time, it is impossible for consumers of communication to say what is the source of communication for something that they've seen. It is impossible, right?
Right.
So therefore, that is a combination that needs to work. Bring in reasons for us to believe that the medium works, then customize it, and therefore we'll see how this medium can actually give a lot of more value than it is currently giving us.
All right, so if I have understood that point very clearly, is that if there is accountability, greater accountability by way of a common currency, that will actually encourage brands to look at this medium with greater intent, not just in terms of advertising, but of actually making it very, very creative, for which, again, you need to put your resources, right? Okay, I just want to come, right. I'm glad that you are ready to speak on this, but what is your particular experience when it comes to presenting campaigns creatively? Because you can't just do it on your own. You need the brands to support you on that.
Thanks. Hello. Yeah. Thanks you have asked me that, because I just wanted to build on to the point which Apurva brought on about the creativity. With just one live example which has happened little less than 30 days ago when we were pitching in for one of the large client. And while pitching in, we showed them how outdoor creative can be made, and not just the adaptation of your mainline campaign. And we just showed them on their own product that what they have done previously and how this could have been done now. You won't believe they've got so impressed, and now they have appointed us as their outdoor creative agency.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We are still in the contract, we are still in a contract phase to have them as our outdoor agency, but they've already appointed as our outdoor creative agency. And our job, like you said, how there are agency who develops only digital creative, our job will be to develop only outdoor creative, because as an outdoor specialist, we understand, and like how Dino said in his presentation, it's about 2-second media, and what you communicate is the 2-second which matters the most. And if collectively we have to work to get the industry size grow so that our friends, media owners get better business, brand spends more, everything could happen only if the brands are going to get result out of this, and result will come only if your creative is visible. So this is something where we have done it, and there are a lot many factors which is like that. It's not the adaptation and all that. This is one of the hyper-local nature of this media is so this thing that India is a diversified country with so many cultures and so many language, as in when you go deep down pop strata, you talk in their language, you talk in their nuances, and it becomes very, very hit. So like one of the example of, if I would like to quote here is for one of our brand Asian Paints, when we did a campaign for them, it's a lamination paint, Ultima Protect is the name of the paint. So they said that's lamination paint means Ultima Protect. What we have taken, it's like for earlier days how it used to be, Thanda matlab Coca-Cola. We have taken these nuances of every state and all. So coffee is kapi, lamination paint is Ultima Protect. Hyderabad is biryani, lamination paint is, and in their own language in different states of South and all that. Now, when you go talk to the consumer in their language, because this medium gives you that kind of a liberty to do that, you directly connect with them. So that is the kind of a thing, what we have given here, and building onto that point of creativity again, that client loved it, and the specialized, first time for us at least, there is a specialized outdoor creative which will be completely different, no connection with the television ad or something which is going to come, but we are quite convinced, and so is client, that it's going to deliver the job in the 2-second viewing time what consumer will have.
Excellent initiative, really, Jayesh. I think, Lakshman, you have also branched into the creative space, right? If you can throw some light on that for us to understand why you thought of the need to put together a creative team whereas you were already into media operations and you branched into media buying as well.
Yes. So one thing is that we've seen, until 3-4 years back, it used to be adaptations of the mainline creative, because most of the clients used to feel that it used to be consistency in communication has to be there, because otherwise you don't have a relevance. Suddenly, when you see something on outdoor without any relevance, then there are chances that you might not be able to connect it. That is one thing which clients were into. But right now, what we're seeing is, we have a new creative team which has come in, So in fact, last week also we had a pitch. The client was insisting that we need to have a separate creative team, and they were very keen that they wanted creative team to work especially only on outdoors. So the brief was that brand guidelines would be given, the do's and don'ts of the brand. Don't deviate from it, but start from there.
All right.
So as long as the brand guidelines, we don't cross that thing, I think they're pretty okay with it. So in terms of the relevance, consistency in the communication is something which they said that they still need to meet some kind of a consistency. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lekshumanan. I'll come back to Anirban. How pleased are you to hear these kind of initiatives where the media agencies that are actually planning and buying are also starting to look at the creative side of the campaigns and are putting resources out there? Do you think that's a very encouraging sign? I'm sure it is actually, but really want to have your further thoughts on how things can get better from here.
Yeah, it is obviously very pleasant sight and experience to see outdoor agencies doing the creatives for us as marketers. Otherwise, like Apurva said, it's a plain vanilla key visuals that you have for television, digital, as well as for outdoor. It goes out everywhere. But yes, we're seeing a lot of change nowadays. For example, in our campaign that we did last year with Dhoni and Gale, the outdoor creative was completely different than the one we played on television and digital. It was more emphasizing on these two characters and the product, and that's it, and the tagline. There's nothing else we spoke. This is more than welcome because there are many, it'll break the clutter firstly. It'll bring in a lot of consistency in the way outdoor advertising is looked upon at differently than the other ones. And when you see a digital campaign of a particular brand or a product and you then marry that to the outdoor campaign, there will be a story that is being told. Not the same story being repeated, but there's a different story that's coming from digital to outdoor. What he mentioned about Ultima, I've seen that, by the way.
Right.
I mean, I've heard similar kind of things from other brands. It is more than welcome, and we will want to see more outdoor agencies come up and do this for us. The creative agencies will have a challenge. They still feel they are the best ones to do this, but I sincerely feel myself that outdoor agencies know things better.
Excellent. I think having specialist creative engagements and development would definitely help the industry a great deal.
We work with one of the biggest agencies in India, okay? And I've been struggling with them for the outdoor creatives all this while for the last 2 years. They
All
don't
right,
understand.
so time for the industry. I think all of those who are involved and have the opportunity of developing the creative side of this business, we can do it right here.
Of
Okay, Apurva, let's talk about the new and spectacular kind of media that gets created, and we have some very, very interesting displays also that are being done, like an example is the 3D anamorphic display. Of course, you can't just have a pan-India 3D anamorphic kind of a campaign, but they need to be done selectively. Tell me, with these kind of things coming on the scene, how, as a brand marketer, you're looking at this medium? Are you looking at it any differently, or do you think that these are very impactful?
Of course, these are impactful, and I think the impact of these formats is something that we will only see as we move along further, because these are very new, and we are still trying to figure out what works best on these kinds of platforms. The biggest advantage that I see is that the 6-word rule or the 8-word rule is something now that we don't have to stick to, and that is very good news. Okay. Because you have a key visual and you have 6 words to support that, or 8 words to support that. Anything more, you just miss the attention of the target audience. But now with these kinds of formats coming in, there's a little more that can be done from messaging point of view itself, right? In a little more engaging format, and to also say a little more than what just one headline might be able to say. The reason why, I've been in life insurance for a very long time, and the guidelines are stringent. So you need to have about 10% of the space of the entire advertisement with only disclaimers. And then with the rest of it also, you have some 5-6 conditions that you have to mention on the outdoor itself. So what is it that you're left to communicate with, right? So in terms of these kinds of challenges that are presented in terms of how much content can be put onto a static medium, these new formats, be it anamorphic or be it even a regular DOOH, is good news for us as marketers, because hey, here is a medium or here is a solution to a problem that you've been facing for such a long time.
Excellent. I think that's another area to work on, and sure, there are a lot of opportunities coming up there. Jayesh, I just want to quickly go into another area that OH is not just about the big metros as well, right? Today, India's growth is coming from all of the non-metro markets. So from an OH perspective, are you seeing business developing in these non-metro markets? What's the pace of business there?
Sure. This is very similar to the kind of question earlier you asked me, which is large format versus the other media.
Right.
Yep, I would peg this question in a very similar bucket. It is metro versus non-metro. Now, large format comprises of a largest chunk of the budget. Similarly, these days when you do a campaign, metro cities, most of the metro cities, when you do the budget, takes the maximum chunk of the budget and a very little money left for the smaller markets where we do the campaign. If smaller markets are part of the budget, that is first and foremost. Having said that, the next level of growth in this industry is what we are talking about. Arguably, the 4,000, 5,000 crore is what we talk about. Audited, unaudited, people say 8,000, 10,000, whatever. But to take it to the next level or to have that multifold growth in this industry, it is definitely going to come from this smaller cities now.
All right.
The media cost is very, very competitive, the kind versus kind of a reach the smaller cities provide. Gone are the days when people in the smaller cities were not keeping trend with what's happening around the globe, forget about around India. Thanks to the penetration of digital network across the country and the likes of Insta Reels and various other stuff on a social media, people are quite updated in the smaller markets, what's happening around the world in terms of the trend, in terms of what's to do, what not to do and all that. They are well versed with what's happening, and hence more and more brands would want to reach out to this audience. I was part of one of the different forum in OH where I had the similar topic where I spoke about. And I had done some study at that time. I would like to quickly share that thing, which is very, very interesting fact about the smaller markets to say per se. This was as per the Economic Times report. Thomas Cook has said in 2023, they've got more number of tourists from smaller city as compared to metro for going abroad. Now, abroad could be anything apart from India. It could be Nepal, Sri Lanka, Singapore, Thailand, anything. But more people from smaller cities as compared to metro. Data of Thomas Cook says that. There is a super luxury car segment, which is like Lamborghinis and Ferraris of the world, do more sales in smaller cities as compared to metro cities. And the data proves this. In the smaller cities, people are more fascinated to buy towards this car, and they maybe have that kind of a infrastructure, non-traffic kind of a thing where they could enjoy as well. But, it is there. Third most interesting fact was, Victoria's Secret in India said that the largest online order they've ever received from India, one single order, largest online one single order, they've received for lingerie just before the Valentine's Day in one of the small town near to Patna. Imagine, this is the kind of smaller cities what we are talking about. People are well versed, they are well aware. If put in a right perspective, because audience is there. It's not that, you're not having audience there. But the perception of the audience is always undermined in the smaller cities. But if you prove it with the kind of MPV, the market potential value this market has, the growth is 100% going to come from the smaller cities. And that is how we are going to increase the pie of this industry, because there is a saturation level one could go up to, and then you need to look beyond to grow.
Great point. I think that'll be a that's great encouragement also for all of the players across the country. We just have only 2.5 minutes, so I'll have one question for Anirban and then a final question to Lekshumanan. You said that you are mostly in the B2B space, so you may not be using OH in so many significant ways, but you do integrate that with your digital media. So tell us a little bit about how that integration is working well. And then final question to Lekshumanan is that in this emerging scenario where integration is also an equally important part, how are you gearing up for that scenario? Yeah, quickly.
Okay. In our kind of industry, it is not so much as tactical, it's more into large formats, innovation. So we, as a brand, when we started advertising last year, serious advertising of the brand happened last year. This brand has been there in the business for the last 12, 13 years, but from last fiscal, it started advertising properly. And why did we choose OH as a medium to go and like he was saying, we spent more money in the tier 2, tier 3 towns, by the way, okay? So we figured out to build awareness, large formats hold the key, and simple messaging, not too much of clutter. So we had messaging done by another agency, not by the creative agency. The digital story was different. The digital story was a little more detailed, talking about the brand, the product and its nuances, and the calibration with the two brand ambassadors, with Dhoni and Gale. The story was built in the digital space. Influencers working around it to give it more amplification in getting in more people to engage, etc. But to take it to the mass, it was the digital format that we took. In the piping industry, last fiscal, we were one of the highest spenders in India. In India.
Okay.
A brand which has never spent a single penny before, we spent very, very high last year. Why did we spend? We wanted to build awareness in the shortest possible time. And though there are no metrics to go and measure this, okay, like you were saying, there is no industry standard of measurement of OH metrics. But looking at the SOE, SOV of us, competition, etc., from different agencies, like the biggest media agencies and that we work with, it goes on to show that our awareness levels also worked. We did a post-campaign study with one of the biggest research agencies in different towns with different influencers and consumers. It told us our brand was well aware. People knew about the brand.
Okay.
So marrying digital with OH, with less cluttered advertising, less cluttered messaging, really worked for us as a brand.
Fantastic, fantastic. Final point from you, Lekshumanan. Are you ready for this big game of OH plus digital in just 30 seconds?
Yeah, thank you for this question, Rajiv. I'll tell you, I want to give a live example of what Coral Media was 15 years back when we started. Just started as an outdoor media ownership model. We branched out to an agency then, the solution business. Then what happened is then we realized that this is not going to work, so we needed to start experiential business. So back in 2017, we started an experiential vertical. Then we realized that the clients were asking for still more, visual merchandising. Then we branched out into visual merchandising just before COVID. And thanks to retail visual merchandising division, because during COVID, we were all doing nil business, and only retail was doing so much.
I think we'll have to just summarize it right away. So are you also going to have digital media in your scheme of things?
We are planning. We're planning to invest
Is
in
that a
digital
way
media.
forward?
Yes, we're slowly investing in digital media in certain markets.
All right, fantastic. I think I've really enjoyed having this conversation. A very, very multi-stakeholder kind of a discussion. Thank you so much, everyone. Now over to you, Kesha.
Well, panelists continue to be seated because we've got Vipul Misra from Paytm joining us on stage. 3 best questions from the many that have come in. Please join us on stage, sir. I know you're still looking through the questions. We love that, which means they're still coming in. 81. Oh my God. All right, so you know that the questions are coming in, and
good evening, everyone. I must say I had a good time analyzing 81 questions. I think it's one of the best sessions. Maybe it is the session itself or the food which has given extra energy to the participants to be really awake going through your session. But yeah, I'll keep it short, simple. Uh, pretty much what was addressed to was for a B2C audience. Here is something which is about how OH can fit for a B2B market. It is also a sizable population of brands which exist in B2B market. How do you think OH can help?
Okay,
B2B.
B2B marketer, who's going to answer that? I think you are the best person to answer that.
Question again?
How OH can cater to the B2B market best?
See, OH, as I said, we are not B2B per se, but we work with influencers. So B2B advertising is marrying digital with OH. It has to be a combination of both. It cannot be one or the other. So when you do good digital advertising with the right amount of stories that you build in there, and you amplify it with OH in large formats, innovation, in the key towns that you want to do business with. So you want influencers, I mean the business leaders, investors, buyers to come and see your advertising and engage with you. So they're seeing digital and they're also looking at the space that you're creating outside to marry both and then form an opinion about you. That's how you do it.
Okay. Next question is from Vinod from Ad-In Advertising. How can AR and AI technology be used to drive consumer engagement in outdoor ads?
Who would like to answer that question? AR and AI.
My views are a little revolutionary in this. I don't think we've cracked this. Okay, AR has been here for a while, and the most that I've seen AR being used in India at least are in malls where you set up some, gear, and you have people play a game or enjoy a session of some, walking on planks on a very high area or whatever it is. I don't think we've cracked this yet. For OH, I think AR and AI might be too early to get in. However, for experiential, AR and AI have a huge role to play. As I said, we've still not cracked how and how effectively can they be implemented. There is enough data available, right? How do you use that data to really come up with formula for experiential and for display where you are actually targeting people with the message that will appeal to them, that make them behave in the manner that you're intending them to? That's the question. Data is there. I don't think we've used it well enough to create models of AI in order to implement in these media.
Very true, very true. Next question is from Sanket Parab. He's talking about what are the future trends in OH advertising that brands should prepare for now? Future trends.
Future trends, I think you both could answer.
I think, yeah, we both can answer about this. Being an advertiser, he would definitely going to invest in the future trends, no matter how much we would say what we want. So, going back to your previous question, which you asked, Apurva, future trends, he said, rightly said, so we are not 100% ready, but when you see the future trends, AR and AI is definitely going to be much more in an engaging way. When the industry-driven data, when we will have it, the agency overall pie, we are expecting it to grow multifold, and that will help bring money to this industry wherein it can be invested in quite a large form of AI-driven technology, which is not only restricted to a controlled environment like malls or the cinemas or etc., but it could be explored to large format out of home as well. One of the AI-driven thing was done by one of the spectacle brands where the celebrity was there and people used to go and talk and celebrity used to talk to you. So that is the kind of technology does exist, and in future, more and more interaction is something which we will see.
Lekshumanan?
And probably, how well, the future, the near future could be, could communicate with mobile phones. The digital media would be able to communicate with the mobile phones. and you get a lot of data out of it. What kind of apps are used by the consumer? So that kind of data, and depending on what kind of apps, you kind of get the exact kind of a consumer behavior. So that minute detail you get from your mobile phones.
So we need to now decide on which question you'd like.
Summarize the three. The second one was ARAI. The third one was future trends. What was the
one
first
was
The first was B2B.
B2B.
B2B and
So which question deserves the prize? Question number 3.
question number 3, future trends.
Future trends, okay. Sanket Parab from Madison. Can I request Sanket if he's around?
Where are you? Join us on stage. Yes, you're right there walking through. Come on in, come on in, come on up onto stage. Let's have the check, please. And the mementos are ready. Can we have them being brought on as well? Center stage, please. Congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in congratulating Sanket. Listening intensely, we've got a couple of more sessions. You could be the one walking away with 10,000 rupees. And requesting you, sir, to continue to be with us on stage. Mementos being brought on. We'd like to say a big thank you to Apurva Sircar from Bandhan Bank. We'd like to say thank you to Mr. Lekshumanan, Annamalai, Coral Media. Thank you, Jayesh Yagnik from Mom's Outdoor, and Anirban Paul Chaudhary, Skipper Pipes. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, our moderator, Mr. Rajiv, thank you so much. Mementos all around. Let's have a group photograph, please, gentlemen. Well, I'm hoping we've got a couple of answers definitely in that direction on how a group photograph. Let's have it. Let's have it. Ladies and gentlemen, sir, please join us for the group photograph. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our panelists. And with that, we're going to give you a 15-minute stretch break.